Okay, so we're just going to run through some of these as a review, and then we'll look at the review too. So on number 1, this says find the x and y intercepts. So let's just talk about your form of your answer by the way the question is asked. If I ask you for the x intercepts, then should your answer be in these squiggly brackets? No. If it is an x-intercept, what form should it be in? An ordered pair. When you ask for an intercept, that is an ordered pair point. If I ask you for the roots or the zeros or the solutions or things like that, that's when it's brackets like this, okay? So make sure that you understand the difference between the two so that because the form matters here. So we've got, since it says x and y intercepts, are your x-intercepts pretty easy to find since it's factored? Yes. If I did want to put them in the little squiggly brackets, what would I put in here? -3 and 5, right? So those are my roots, my zeros. So when I write the x-intercepts, I write them as ordered pairs, and so that gives me -7, 0, -3, 0, and 5, 0. Should I have put the little union signs in between them? No, because they're not intervals, they're points, right? They look like intervals that don't include the endpoints, but they're totally different things, right? There's 2 different ways to write the answers, but when it asks you for intercepts, it's actually asking you for ordered pairs. Okay, so then to find the y-intercept, what do? I just plug in 0. So that means I'm going to have 7 times a -5 times 3, right? Notice I'm not multiplying those numbers together because I'm just really plugging in 0. So this is going to give me 35 times 3, which is what? 105. So then my ordered pair there is the -105. Everybody okay with that? It would look like this. Yeah, roots, zeros, solutions, x's, things like that. Pretty much anything but intercepts when you're asking for the zeros. Okay, and then I'm just going to skip over those. We'll decide later if we want to come back and look at those. All right, so here we're just drawing the end behavior. So remember, if it is even, so if it's positive even, looks like this, right? Negative even, looks like this. Positive odd, looks like this. And negative odd, oops, looks like that. Yes? Okay, so here the degree is 1, 2, 3, and it's negative, so it's a negative odd, which means it looks like that. Okay. All those things are things that need to run through your mind when you're trying to sketch and do things. All right, we good? So then I look at number 7. In order for me to sketch and label it, I need certain things. I need the zeros, which I would much rather write like this. So they would be a negative what? 3, and then which was the next one in order? 0, then 1, then 5. Okay, so there's that. I also need to know end behavior. So what's the degree here? 4, and it's positive, so looks like a quadratic, right? And so the end behavior is going to look like this. Then I also need my y-intercept. That is something that some of you have been leaving off of things, off of your like I think one of the homeworks that I handed back, I asked you to sketch down at the bottom like as a little review, but you didn't have the y-intercept on there. So it's easy to find. I plug in zeros for all of those. Well, if this is 0 right here, then does it really matter what happens with the rest of it? No. So my y-intercept is 0, 0. Okay. So I'm going to go in here and let's see. I'm going to have to go 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm supposed to label this stuff. So I need a point here at -3, 1, 0, and 5. So that this is at -3, 0, 1, and 5. Okay. Do I have any double roots or points of inflection here? No. Okay, so it's just going to go through my axis each time looking like that when we start. So I start from up here. I don't know how far down it goes, so yours may not look exactly like mine. Go up, down, back up there. Everybody okay with all that? Make sure you think through all those things. There's a reason that we want to think about all this stuff, because some of you, on some of the ones when you didn't have it graphed right, you had your end behavior written correctly, but then when you did it, it didn't match what you wrote. Like you weren't even agreeing with yourself. So make sure you pay attention to that because that'll help you not miss double roots and things like that. We good? Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. No, you only have to put one. So yeah, you just label it once, right? Yeah, I see what you're saying. No, so his question was, since it's X and Y, do I have to label it twice? No, just once like I have it is fine. But if your Y-intercept is, at 5 up here, then you need to make sure that you mark that at label 5. Other than that, yeah, you're fine. Okay, we good? All right, synthetic division. We should be pros at this by now, although there was some crazy things going on in some of those quizzes. Just make sure that you take the root there, so that's 1, right? Make sure if there's placeholders, which there isn't on this one, I probably should have made you do 10. But I didn't make you do 10 because 10 is actually one I used on the quiz. So 10 is on the quiz, and if you missed that one that looks like that, then it may be because you didn't put your placeholders in there. I don't need any placeholders here, though. 1, -1, 3, and 2. And this is where my remainder goes. So 1, 1, 0, 0, 3, 3, and 5, right? So I divide using synthetic division. But I have to give an answer. My answer is a polynomial of some sort. And so what I have here then, since this was a cubic and I've divided 1 out, this makes this squared. So this is going to give me x squared. There is no x term, plus 3. And then I have a remainder, plus 5 over x minus 1. So there's my result of the synthetic division. Then, I know it doesn't say it on here, but I did put it on the test, that I want you to explain the meaning of the remainder. Some of you clearly don't get that because you either had it backwards or I don't know what happened. If this, let's say this was 0. If I got 0, then we have a root, right? Okay, but I was getting things like, this is 0, so x squared plus 3 is a root. That's not what it's telling you, okay? Or a factor. It says, if this is 0, then it is this right here that is a factor. It means 1 is a root and the factor is x minus 1. Does that make sense? And it's not that it factors, it's that that is a factor. Here, x minus 1 is not a factor because I got a remainder. So here, since the remainder is 5, that means f of, not f of 5, but f of 1 equals 5. So basically, I found a point on that graph. It's just not one of the intercepts. Okay, we all good on that? So I think some of us have that a little confused. All right, so then we have 1 factor. We're going to write it in factored form and find all the zeros. So it doesn't say how you have to do it here. You could do long division or you could do synthetic division. What do y'all prefer? Synthetic. It's less writing, I agree. Okay, but then you got to make sure that you actually use your placeholders if you need them. So this is -4. You get 1, -1, -14, and 24. And I suggest you double check what you wrote down because more than once I've hurt myself because I've written the wrong thing down. I don't know. Why it's that hard. I guess I just get distracted. So then I get 1. This gives me a -4, so this is -5. This is 20. This is 6. -24, and 0. Do we expect to get 0? Yes, because it's telling, the answer is yes, because it's telling us it's a factor, right? If I got anything other than 0 here in this particular problem, I know I'm wrong. Here, I don't know if I'm supposed to get 0 or not because it just tells me to divide. Here, this is flat out telling me that this is a factor, so I know I should get 0. So I'm not doing that to see if it's a factor. I'm doing that to get down here to my depressed polynomial, because what I know now is that f of x is equal to x plus 4 times x squared minus 5x plus 6, right? So it says given one factor, write in factored form and find all zeros. Always make sure you answer all the questions that it's actually asking. So now all I have to do is factor this. Is factoring that pretty easy? Yes. So f of x equals x plus 4. And I would think you should get to some point on the simple ones where you don't have to write down a lot of stuff. The numbers are easy, and they got to multiply to give you that and add to give you that. So we get x minus 2 and x minus 3. Right? And then, so that's my factored form. Am I done? No, it also says find all zeros. So that's when I can write it like this. That's going to give me a -4, +2, +3. Okay. Any questions at all on that? No? Okay. All right, good. So do you all have any questions on the review? Are there things that I could go over on the review that you would like to see? I'm going to do this. I'm going to stop this video